everyone, and welcome back to my podcast, Life of an Artrepreneur. I'm really excited to be chatting with Danielle Verbeeten today, who is another wildlife artist specialising in pastels. I've got so many different things to ask her. We've been chatting for ages on Instagram. She's illustrated and written her own children's book called Eddie the Elf, which is in her local Waterstone, so I want to ask her all about that. Her artwork has recently been accepted into a gallery, and one of her pieces was actually selected for the David Shepherd Wildlife Artist of the Year exhibition back in March. So yeah, I've got a lot to ask her. She's an amazing pastel artist, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. So you're a pastel artist, you're not colour pencils, are you?
No. I think I did do a bit of Prisma at the beginning, but swiftly realised that I just didn't know how to do it. So I kind of used pastels a bit more like I'm painting. Why is my phone doing that noise? Yeah, so I've stuck with pastels, although I just love watching you guys do, pencils.
Yeah.
Just amazing. So yeah, in awe. I don't know how you do it.
I really want to learn how to do pastels because I feel like it's so much quicker than coloured pencils, but I'm scared of the mess. Does it not get like everywhere, or is it not too bad?
Well, yeah, you'd hate it. Because I'm kind of probably the opposite of you. I'm like chaos. There's just stuff everywhere, and there's dust, pastel mess everywhere. Yeah, it's really messy, and it's obviously the opposite. So it works the opposite.
Yeah.
You're working kind of dark to light, whereas I know you know where your lights are, and I don't know if I could. Yeah, I'm not sure how I do that. So
yeah, I do want to try it though at some point. I might get like a small pastel set to start off with and then give it a go.
You could definitely do it.
Yeah.
Just I would get the pencils
to start.
Just a few of the, like the pan.
Yeah, I do have. This is my collection of pan pastels. I've got quite a few now.
Same as me. That's I kind of stick to like 4 or 5, and then the same handful of pencils.
Yeah.
When you're drawing stuff.
I love pan pastels for like really soft backgrounds because I think coloured pencils take so long to build up that having that nice contrast quite nice.
It's the perfect mix.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to talk about your Eddie the Elf book, obviously. Okay. Yeah. So how did all that come about? What was like your inspiration behind all that? Because it's a book, a children's book that you've basically written and illustrated yourself, is it?
Yeah. So I had to go through my Instagram actually this morning to try and work out all the dates.
Yeah.
So I've got 3 children. They're nearly all teenagers now. Mm-hmm. So since about 2007, I was basically reading children's books like every night. Like we used to read like 3 or 4 a night to each of them. So for 10 years, I guess I was reading children's books. And so I'm a designer by trade. So I'm kind of always drawn and, done that kind of thing. And I don't know, I loved the illustrations in the books, and we'd always like talk about the illustrations. And then I don't know how it came about. I've got my, this is Eddie.
Oh.
This is Eddie the Elf. So obviously my children were quite a bit younger then, and we had the Christmas elf and stuff. And yeah, it was actually like a real life story. One of my boys, my boy started getting really upset when we had to put the elf away. And I was like, oh, it's okay, the elves go off over the year, he'll be fine, he'll go and have his adventures. And he was actually really upset about it, and so we made up this little story. And then I kind of just thought, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to write my own story, and I think I could do it because I'd read so many books, Julia Donaldson and all the rhyming stuff, and obviously being surrounded, I don't know, I love the snowman. Growing up, that was kind of my era, and I just adored drawing that kind of thing. So yeah, I was like, I'm going to do it. So I think I started it in I think it was Christmas 2018. And I've got, do you want to see this is how it started?
Yeah, go on.
So I dug it out. So literally, like, I was just writing. I think I was sitting in front of the fire, literally over Christmas 2018, just scribbling notes.
Yeah, that's the best way to start though, isn't it? Getting out all
Yeah.
your ideas, basically.
Yeah, so I just started, writing rhyme. I had this idea, and then I was writing, like drawing little kind of thumbnails of, I had pictures in my head, and I was literally like so excited. It was, when you start a project and you just like, oh my God, it's gonna be
Yeah,
amazing.
you can visualize it
Um,
all.
yeah, I was just like staying up late, and at the time I was working full time at a design consultancy in London, so I was commuting a lot. So basically, my commute was drawing, writing, drawing,
Yeah.
sketch. And then I bought my iPad and basically drew everything on Procreate.
I was going to say, did you draw them
Yeah,
with like, because it looks like coloured pencil drawing. Because when I was
yeah,
zooming in, I was like, it looks like a coloured
yeah,
pencil drawing. But so you did it on Procreate.
yeah. So
Yeah.
because I love drawing in that style, and I've
Mhm.
always sketched, and again going back to the snowman, that kind of sketchy pencil style, bit more old fashioned. That's the kind of style that I was always used to drawing in. But I started doing some watercolors and some actual drawings, but it was just so labor intensive to try and get them drawn and then scanned in, and
Mm.
it kind of wasn't working. So I went for the pencil look, but did it digitally so I could do it on the train. And
Yeah, I
yeah,
suppose it's easier doing it
yeah,
that way because you can do it, can do bits and bobs whenever, really, like when you're traveling.
yeah,
I think I've got Procreate on my iPad and I've tried to give it a go, but I feel like although you can get the pencil effect, it doesn't feel like you're working on paper, you're working on a screen,
no,
so I don't really
yeah.
like it. I've
You can
tried,
get,
but
yeah, you can get, my friend's got one and I didn't get on with it, but you can get covers for your iPad that give
oh,
you
can
like,
you?
yeah, that make
Ah,
it feel like a paper texture, and you get the
I
same
didn't know
results and
that.
everything. But I'd already kind of done half the book by that
Mhm.
point, and then I didn't want to change how it felt halfway through,
Yeah.
or it might change my style. And that's quite a good thing to know. It's like, obviously you're so influenced by what's going on, especially in the world of illustration. I felt like the illustrations that were current and very popular at the time, still now, are very different from what I was drawing. And I
Mhm.
was a bit like, oh, I kind of started skewing mine a bit. But I was in touch with a lot of different illustrators, and they were super helpful. And, one of them just was like, Danielle, stay true to your own style.
Yeah.
Like, the drawing is lovely, and it kind of helped me just stick with what I was doing my way, which was good.
Yeah, it can almost make you stand out a bit more if you're doing something
Yeah,
completely
yeah,
different to what everyone else is doing.
yeah, and especially when the cover of the book is very dark,
Mhm.
and that's very different from what's on the shelves and what obviously you think of very colourful books, and especially at Christmas, I kind of wanted something really cozy and kind of the story of creeping around in the dark. And when you see it on the shelf saying Waterstones, it was like it really stands out, and loads of people would pick it up because it was different, and it was an A4 format, and a lot
Mhm.
of children's books are square.
Yeah.
So that again really helped, I think, for differentiation. It might not help in other ways. People, certain publishers would want typically a square children's book.
The publishing process, was that quite easy to do or was that quite difficult, like getting it into
Um,
Waterstones and all of that?
yeah, so it's kind of the advice, yeah, I would give people. So when I started writing it, it was obviously the year before lockdown,
Mhm.
and I'd kind of written it all and drawn most of it as I guess we were coming into COVID, which obviously everybody also wrote their own book in COVID,
Yeah.
uh, and everything shut down. So publishers weren't open, nobody was taking submissions. The backlog then went into 2021, so you couldn't. It was very hard to get your stuff out there because everyone was shut. It was so built up from 2 years ago, and then obviously the plethora of everybody writing their own book in
Mm.
2020. No one was accepting any manuscripts, and I think if you've got an idea for the story and you want to illustrate it yourself, it's a bit more tricky. So a lot of publishers like illustrators, or they like you to write the story and then they'll
Right.
put them together.
Mhm.
So for me, because I had the whole idea myself. I just thought, I'm just going to do it myself. And I'll give you the link to put below for the people that printed it, because they were amazing. And they helped me, they had videos of YouTube and how to lay it out using InDesign and everything. And it was really hard. It was a real massive learning curve. But I do believe anyone could do it. It's kind of, I've helped a couple of people that have requested information. It's totally doable for anyone. Waterstones were amazing. They have a very strict kind of admissions, like you have to jump through a lot of hoops, you have to get registered with a supplier, la la la. But yeah, it's doable. It's totally doable anyway. Yeah, you just have to make sure little things like getting a ISBN number and a barcode, because if you do all those things at the beginning, you might think, oh, it's fine, I'm going to sell it myself. At some point, if you want to sell it in a shop or anywhere, they'll need all of that information, and then they can put it in the library. So
yeah, I've seen a lot of people like self-publish on Amazon, and that looks quite an all right process. But then I feel like it's so good to walk into a shop and then see your book there. Like it's a different feeling.
So I need to do the other way round. I literally, for about the last it'll be 3 years this year, I haven't had it on Amazon. No. Because I got it into my local Waterstones, and they have been amazing. But breaking into kind of the whole of Waterstones is a different, I think if you're with a big publisher, it's easy. If you're a famous person, it's easy. But my local Waterstones, you can kind of go through different avenues. So they've had it, but I haven't yet got it into places like London Waterstones. That's my goal.
Doable, as you say.
Yeah, but I need to get it on Amazon this year.
Yeah, so definitely.
That's my mission for this year. I've got to do it after I finish my commission. That's my next job.
Because people can buy it as like a ebook for the Kindle and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be an illustrated physical book, but then they might as well if you've spent all that time doing the beautiful illustrations.
And I think for children, it's so nice to have it in paper, because
definitely,
there's a couple of pages at the front which are more kind of like find like where's Wally, like, where's Eddie, so there's 2 pages at the front, 2 pages back, so it's things like that, and the kids spend ages like trying to find the elves, and they can write their name in the front. It says this book belongs, it's all those little things really. So I need to get on Amazon. And also, when I first launched it, and I still do it now, it's really nice because I personalize them. So if people order them from me, I'll write a little Christmas message and they give them in their Christmas Eve boxes. Or a lot of people request that I write them from their elves at home. So a lot of kids have got elves called, Sparkles, or there's been so many great names. So I write a little message from, Sparkles the elf, and the kids love it. So it's all about the magic and keeping them excited.
It's such a good idea. It honestly looks really, really good. I was looking at the Instagram yesterday, zooming in, it's so good.
Thank you.
That's such like a good achievement as well, to get it into your local Waterstones and literally write and illustrate a whole book. Like I bet that was a lot of work.
It's because it would have taken like 2 years of illustrating it, but that's because I was doing it on the side of working full-time and having 3 young children. So my husband would take the kids out to the park or something, and I'd be like, no, I'll stay and I've got to get this illustration done. And so but it was on my, I guess I don't really kind of have bucket lists, but it was on my thing that I want my kids to have something, without sounding too morbid, when I'm not here. I wanted them to, have something that they could read to their kids and remember as our family, when they're grown up, they'll remember it.
How was the David Shepherd Wildlife Artist of the Year exhibition?
I
saw your stories of you taking home the big thing at the front.
I think I've got it.
Behind you.
Right in there. Yeah.
That's so good that it's on there.
It was amazing. I've obviously spoken to you about it. It was just, I've never kind of done anything like that before. So it almost didn't feel like I kind of belonged there, if that makes sense. I wouldn't consider myself a proper artist. And I felt a little bit like, oh God, this feels a bit weird. But it was a great day out, and I ended up going, all week. I was like out there at the gallery all week with different friends and stuff. So, and it was just mental that they put it on the door, because someone on Instagram messaged me the photo as we were going there, and I was like, oh my God, it's on the door. I couldn't believe it. So I think that's actually the bigger achievement actually than getting it in the exhibition.
Oh, it was so good. I went down for, I won some tickets to Zoe Fitchett's workshop, so I went down, and that's the first time I've been to see the exhibition. I've applied 5 times, but I've not got in, unfortunately.
I have applied before as well.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I feel like it's so subjective. It just depends on what they like.
Yeah, and I don't even know if I would enter again, to be fair, because it is so subjective, and I don't think there's a way of almost, it's not like I thought, obviously because it's so subjective, I didn't love every bit of work in there, and some of them you're looking at and you're like, not my cup of tea, but obviously it's, or it was just because it was a very different medium, so they obviously select a really wide range of mediums.
A huge variety of stuff.
Yeah, so obviously so many people that do beautiful work might not have got in because it was, they can't have everyone with the same medium. So it's almost like you don't really, it makes you feel like your work's not good enough when you don't get in, even though that's not the case. But you just don't know,
you just don't know, do you? They had quite a lot of sculptures when I walked around. I spotted yours straight away because I knew it was the polar bear, and it was on the front. As soon as I walked in, I sent you a selfie, didn't I? I was like, what I found.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was some really good work in there. I feel like as well, if loads of people submit like the same animal, because you can imagine a lot of people do like lions and the same sort of animals, they want a variety. So I suppose that'll make a difference as well.
Yeah, and obviously they've got the different categories. So
and that,
it was definitely. I think what was the one I didn't enter it. I can't remember the categories now, but I figured that there was one category that probably a lot of animal wildlife people entered. I think it was the behaviour.
Animal behaviour, yeah.
So I figured there would be a lot of people entering that one, and my one fell. It was like I could have put it into animal behaviour, but then the way it ended up was more landscapey, kind of the focus was on actually the ice. So I didn't enter it into that one, but I'd imagine the competition to enter into that category was probably bigger.
So did you go to the actual private viewing as well, like the award, was it the awards night?
So I went to that. That was amazing. I think they obviously have a lot of artists that they work a lot with, and it was a lot of not the same names, but like I said, I'm not really kind of in those circles, so I did feel a little bit out of the inner circle. But it was nice, there was champagne and wine, and I took my husband, and we never ever go out, so it was like the first time in about 10 years we'd been on a date. So it was nice, and he was proud. It was good.
Yeah, no, it looked really good. I'm going to apply, I think, again next year and hope again, but we'll see. Just depends. I feel like as well it's annoying because coloured pencil takes so long. I don't know if you saw my work that I submitted in March. It was like a paw, like a leopard's paw, but like the legs. It was like a weird perspective.
Yeah. Was it walking away?
Walking away. Yeah. But it took me so long, and I should make prints from it really and put the original on my website. I've not got around to it yet, but to do all that work and then not get anything, it's like
months and months. I mean, I don't get much time in my day because of my children. The amount of hours that I put into mine, I think I listened to about 200 episodes of somebody's podcast. That's how, that's
mine.
Yours wasn't up at that point. And just so many hours. And I think if you're doing it solely for the competition, it's so heartbreaking that you don't, because you feel like, it wasn't good enough, and all that time. So you definitely need to make prints of it or have it so that it's an original to sell.
Yeah, definitely do. I've got it framed and everything, so I need to just get on with it.
Concept, I think a lot of it is just
it seems that way.
although there was some that were just nicely drawn animals, which then felt a contradiction to the fact that it didn't have a concept. So that's why you can't judge whether.
Yeah, it's just such a hit and miss, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll see for next year.
We'll see. Yeah,
we'll see. Might see you there or might not.
Yeah, it's just time, isn't it?
Are you working full time now as a wildlife artist?
Yeah, so when I say full time, it's not really full time just because my time is so drained. But full time in the sense of I don't work as a designer anymore. This is like I kind of skewed across from that, and yeah, now I kind of moved on a little bit from commissions because I was so booked up, which is a lovely problem to have. But I felt like I was always chasing, like constantly trying to keep up this treadmill. And you obviously can't sell your work if you're solely doing commissions, as you know. So I think I'm kind of in that pivotal point where I'm doing my own stuff more, still trying to not take on any commissions. I've got 2 before Christmas, which I shouldn't have taken on, but you do. So yeah, probably a bit of both, mostly, but mostly stuff that's now I've got the gallery that's my work's in.
Yeah, you have, haven't you? So how did that come about? Are you finding that that's helping with like selling your original work? Or
yeah, I mean,
not
it's
yet?
only been in there a couple of weeks. I think it's just a totally different. I think if I rewound like 2 years ago, I was only starting kind of drawing people's cats and dogs, and it feels like such a massive, I thought about it the other day and I was like, oh my God, I have actually got something I could talk to Becca about.
You've done loads.
But yeah, like I can't, even 6 months ago, the guy that prints my work and scans my work in, he's a fine artist. He's a surreal artist and he's amazing. And he was like, 6 months ago, you hadn't even got, you hadn't done any of this. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, I was just drawing pets. And I think the gallery is like just something that's made me kind of think that, wow, I could actually, I can do work that, someone might buy in a gallery. I think with the galleries, it's just, again, it's hit and miss because at the moment, my work, I wouldn't say is on trend. It's very traditional. It's very representational. It's and obviously a lot of coloured pencil art is like that. It's realism, and if you go into a gallery, it's mostly, amazing pictures of Audrey Hepburn with tattoos and spray paint and
yeah, very contemporary stuff.
Yeah, it's all contemporary. It's all lovely, bright colours and huge, massive Banksy style things the size of doors. And, when I walk in there, I'm like, oh, the work's like really not as good as all this. But the gallery that I'm with, they liked my work because it was different from what they had. It was actually my mum that took their card and did the whole, my daughter's an artist, as parents, I was like, Mum, stop doing that. But she did that, and I, sent them, he was like, oh, get her to email me. And, I kind of sent them a message, but I didn't really think of the enormity of it. Sent them a few bits of work. And obviously they get like 10 to 20 submissions every week. But I actually didn't really think about that when I was just writing my little, hi, my mum popped in, and said hello. But yeah, and they were lovely. And I think he said that was the point, that because my work was very different, it was like I was filling a gap in what they don't have. So it's always, you should always be mindful that if you walk into a gallery and they've got nothing like you do, be confident, think, well, actually, you don't have what I do. Maybe that would interest them. It might not be, because it might just, they might know their clients and there's not a place for you, but there might be. I
think galleries are always really different, aren't they? And I think with realism, they either love it or they hate it. Yeah. But most of the time you find that they don't like it because they like the more commercial art that sells in a gallery.
Yeah. And it makes you doubt your own.
It does, yeah.
Definitely made me doubt my, I'm like, oh, my stuff's, even when, I've walked in, my work's in there, I was in there with my friend, wow, my work is in a gallery. I literally should have been walking out of there thinking like, oh my God, I've made it. It's amazing. But I wasn't. I was thinking, oh God, my work looks rubbish compared to all those amazing artists. And it's just that constant, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
self,
you're always going to have self-doubt. Like it's
yeah,
difficult with art because it
yeah.
is so subjective, and like not everyone is going to like it, but you've just got to have that confidence in it yourself, I think.
You're always comparing yourself, or just thinking, oh wow, that's brilliant. Why can't I do that?
Yeah.
or thinking I could do that, but I don't. And especially with the contemporary stuff, like, oh my God, that's amazing. Why didn't I do that? And it gives you all these ideas. But at the end of the day, it's like your style is your style, and you really shouldn't change it because of, obviously your influence, and you can tweak things with trends, and as you learn, it'll get better. But you shouldn't really change your style, should you? Because that's what you.
Definitely. You spend like years and months developing it anyway, and like I'm teaching it now basically on Patreon and stuff, so it's like yeah, if you find something that you like, just develop it. Don't do what everyone else is doing just
No.
because you feel kind of pressured to.
And if you think, I think with Instagram, it's easy to think that, if you follow, say, 2,000 other artists, it's easy to think that, oh, my work's not as good as them, or it's not as, it's not quite like them. But in the real world with billions of people, is that correct? Those 2,000 people are just people that I follow. I don't think anyone that I know follows the people that I follow on Instagram, for example. So you kind of got to remember that people that are following you might not be following any other artists, or they're following you because they love your work.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Patreon people, just must love the way you draw, and want to learn from you. Like, Becca's amazing. I want to learn from you, and kind of, yeah, it's like you've got to try and remember that. I'm not very good at that.
Yeah, I know it's difficult. I think because we all follow each other as well, and we're all like realistic wildlife artists. It's like we've all kind of got the same like target audience as well, but
Yeah,
that your followers might not follow them or vice versa.
yeah,
So you've got to
yeah.
remember that like you're unique as well, even though we're all kind of similar. We've all got our own thing that makes us stand out, I guess.
And I think that's the kind of the good and the bad, isn't it? Because, say, for me, following you, I'm just like, oh my God, Becca she just does everything. She's doing Patreon, she does tutorials, she's like selling prints, she's just like amazing. And I don't do
Thank you.
Patreon, and I don't do YouTube, and la la la. But then, you have to remember that you're in different, I'm a lot older
Yeah,
than you.
you've got a whole family.
Children, two dogs, no time. But you're at different stages of your career.
Mm.
With different kind of goals and different focuses. And yeah, and it's like with you found that Patreon is like, probably, I don't know, when did you start your Patreon? Was it a
I've
year
been on
ago?
it for 3 years. I've been on it for now. Yeah, it's gone really quick, but I've kind of spent more time doing that now than commissions. But I really enjoy like the teaching part. I think that's really rewarding. But it is a lot to kind of juggle everything. But I feel like I'm doing everything and kind of narrowing down what I actually enjoy. But I don't think I ever want to stop doing commissions because that's kind of what started me off,
Yeah.
but I am kind of taking on less because of the time element. Like I've just not got enough time in the day really to do everything.
But I think that's obviously you're finding that is where
Mm-hmm.
your heart and soul is, that you love, teaching people, and you'll be just producing so much more work,
And it's good because I do like a full tutorial every month, but then that's like a whole new original that I'm doing every month. So
Yeah,
then I feel like I'm doing things quick, even though
yeah.
colour pencils aren't quick. Like I do work quite quick, I think, for a colour pencil artist.
And I think business wise, it's a very good, is it a business model? Is that the right word? Because you're producing work, you're still, you're working really hard, and you're teaching people at the same time. But therefore, if you do just commissions, you are doing probably the same amount of work, maybe less even, and you're selling it to one person.
It's more lonely doing commissions. Like teaching, you build a whole community and like you're speaking to people all the time, so it's better in that sense. Because being a wildlife, I think being any artist, you spend so much time on your own and stuff working, podcasts on, you're in your own zone, like getting in the drawing zone, and you spend quite a lot of time on your own. I mean, you've got your whole family and stuff, but
I quite like yes, it's quiet. They've gone to school. It's amazing. But yeah, no, it is. It's like, yeah, you don't have your colleagues or any, you don't even have your community, which, you kind of got to take the dog out or but then a lot of people, I guess, work from home now after COVID. So.
Yeah, they do, don't they? And I think that's why I like doing my podcast as well, because I can like actually chat to people more one-on-one. And I mean, I've done like, I think this is my 23rd episode or something.
Is it?
Yeah,
no.
My 23rd episode. Yeah.
Oh, God, that's so quick. I thought it
has
7 or something. Yeah, wow.
23rd, I know.
I have listened to a couple twice, I have to say. Yeah. It's been really useful.
Oh, well, thank you for supporting my podcast and listening, and for all your comments and stuff, because it makes it worth doing, because it takes up a lot of time, especially the editing part. But yeah, thank you for coming on.
Oh, you're welcome, Becca. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, this will be up on Wednesday, so you can watch it on Wednesday on YouTube or on Spotify or whatever.
Okay, lovely. Thank you for having me.
Come back anytime.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. I really hope you enjoyed it and got to know Danielle a little bit better. I'll leave all of her social links in the video description below, so you can go and follow her on Instagram. If you've been watching on YouTube, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to see more art-related content and future episodes of the podcast. And if you've been listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, then I'd love it if you could leave a review. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll be back next week with a brand new episode.